I was sitting here watching the Senate hearings with regard to the confirmation of federal judge Amy Coney Barrett. In front of me is the other senator from Delaware, Chris Coons. What a great name. He looks like a raccoon, actually. Hopefully he'll climb up a tree and go away, because the other senator, former senator from Delaware, Biden, he's running for president, and obviously they're running interference for him. They're demagoguing the Democrats to such a degree, it's unbelievable. They say that the Affordable Care Act is going to be struck down if Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed. Yes, I hope it is. It should have been, but for the deceitful and dishonest John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, it never would have been law. But what is intentionally overlooked is that obviously something else will come in which would be better than Obamacare. Democrats and Republicans will be forced to change the law if the Republicans retain control of the Senate and hopefully the House of Representatives. If not, it'll be a bloodbath, and Obamacare will look like capitalism compared to what the Democrats will put in. That's the scenario that's on the horizon. And the horizon doesn't look good. As of today, it looks like the brain-dead Joe Biden could win the presidency and bring with him the evil witch Kamala Harris and all the leftist hacks and frankly domestic terrorists such as Rashida Tlaib, who assaulted my client, Laura Loomer, and also Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar over the weekend says that Trump's going to lose Minnesota. Well, he may lose Minnesota. But you know what? Omar knows a lot about losing, because Muslims have lost every war with Jews and Christians for 6,000 years, any major war. They've tried to annihilate the Jewish people. They want to destroy the Jewish state. Omar is a radical Muslim in Congress, and this is what we face. And if you want to see who's running interference for Biden and Kamala Harris to take control of the White House, and also for the Democrats to take control of Congress, just turn on Fox News and watch Chris Wallace from time to time. Yesterday, during a panel discussion on Fox News Sunday, Chris Wallace asked Brit Hume, who's hardly a radical right-wing person, he's establishment, pure establishment through and through. He said, "Do you think Trump has any chance of winning this election?" And Brit Hume said, "Only if in the next 3 weeks it becomes evident to the American people that Joe Biden is senile." You know, that was minor. It's clear that Joe Biden is more than senile. He has dementia and probably the onset of Alzheimer's. He'll soon be doing coloring books, whether he's in the White House or not. And Wallace shot back saying, "That's a very controversial statement, Britt. You know, get this guy off TV." But I'll tell you something, this is exemplary of Fox today. It's not doing the president any favors. Fox has turned left. You have a few conservative commentators left for ratings and ad dollars at night, but they'll be gone soon. Lachlan Murdoch is a leftist. He runs the station. His brother James, who's looking over his shoulder, is a radical leftist. In fact, doesn't even like Fox News in terms of its conservative commentators. But here's the bottom line with regard to the Supreme Court. It is not the be-all and end-all. Frankly, I could care less what the Supreme Court does anymore. It's so predictable. If there's Democrats on there, Democrat appointed, they vote for radical leftist causes. They make legislation from the bench. If it's conservatives, several of them sell out from time to time, particularly Roberts. He's no longer a conservative. He lives in a judicial closet, if not an actual closet. That's the rumor in Washington, D.C. And look at Lindsey Graham. He's going to lose in South Carolina. He has no spine. We see that John Durham, as I predicted all along, let me say this over and over again. I predicted it because I know it. I understand what goes on in Washington, D.C. I've been in the trenches for 40 years. Rush Limbaugh's been in a radio studio. Sean Hannity's been in La La Land, and I'm not talking about Los Angeles. I know what goes on. And it's clear that there will be no justice. And the Supreme Court believes they're above the law too. They don't answer to the judicial code of conduct. They can do as they please. And so can everybody do as they please in Washington, D.C. They're one happy family. Democrats and Republicans. It's like the National Football League, the American Conference, the National Conference, all getting money stuffed into their pockets, becoming rich and happy, looking like they're important, wearing $5,000 Italian suits, gold cufflinks, you name it. They come in, the ones that aren't millionaires to begin with little money, they become millionaires while in office. We've reached a tipping point. We are at the point of a revolution. We're in a revolution. I want to see it peaceful and legal. That's why I wrote this book. It takes a revolution. Forget the scandal industry. Turn off Fox News. Turn off MSNBC. Turn off CNN. Turn off Newsmax, which you can't even see anyway. That's how bad the picture is. And it's run by Chris Ruddy, who gave $1 million to the Clinton Foundation. This isn't conservative. It's a hoax. So consequently, it's up to the American people to do what needs to be done. And that's why I want you to get my book, go out and pre-order it. It Takes a Revolution. It's coming out October 27th. You can order it now. It'll be available in a few weeks. Get ready. The copies will be scarce because it is the manifesto for capitalism and conservatism, not in terms of what Hannity has proposed. Just vote for Donald Trump. That's not going to do it. You can see what odds the president is up against, and you can see that even if he wins, and right now it doesn't look like that's likely, but I hope he does. I pray he does. But even if that's the case, it's 4 years. 4 years are only enough to slightly arrest the downward trend, which is coming out of our universities, coming out of our kids, coming out of radical leftists of all races, sexes, persuasions, sexual persuasions, and you name it. The country is on the verge. So go out and buy my book. It Takes a Revolution. Forget the scandal industry. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Sign up for our class action. See if you qualify against the communist Chinese for compensation for COVID-19, for our cases to break up the social media companies. You know, they've been promising that on Capitol Hill, as well as the Justice Department now, for years and years and years. They do nothing. They just say, oh, we're studying it. Yeah, they're studying it because money is being pumped into them by the powerful leftist social media companies on both sides. That's why you need to join Freedom Watch's Justice League. We are your Justice Department. You have no Justice Department, and frankly, you have no government. And let me say one other thing, is that I see these arrests in Michigan over these so-called militia leaders. Mark my word, if anybody does investigative journalism, I bet they find out that this was an entrapment, a setup. I'll bet that maybe they made some remarks that were threatening, but did absolutely nothing to carry it out. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't support violence. I certainly don't. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Democrats, and of course, our Attorney General Barr caved in because he's worried about his own skin. He wants to look magnanimous. He's got to go after people on the right to show that he's, quote, fair. But I'm very skeptical of what's going on up there, much like Richard Jewell was framed in the Olympic bombing, much like several individuals were framed for the anthrax attacks after 2001. I'm skeptical that, in fact, this is nothing and is nothing more than a democratic effort to say that the violence in the streets and elsewhere is the result of the right. But let's see. These people committed a crime. They deserve to be prosecuted. But I'll tell you something. All these leftists in the streets, they should be locked up. They should be tried. They should be convicted and the key thrown away. And that's not been done by the president, nor the attorney general, nor anyone. And the president has lost some of his base. And I ask him to man up, to take charge, to move forward, not just words, but deeds. And if you do that, you have a good chance of being reelected. And Larry Klayman personally supports you. I have supported you. I hope that you will be reelected. But we are on the edge right now. And that's my message for today. So go out and purchase my book. It Takes a Revolution. Forget the scandal industry. BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com, BooksAMillion.com. You can find it everywhere. God bless you. God bless your family. Stay safe. I'll be back tomorrow with another edition of our special podcast, A Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. Until then, thank you for listening to me.